The push-up ranks right up there with one of my favorite exercises ever. Again, if you ask anybody how many push-ups they can do, they'll probably tell you about 40% more than what they can actually do with good technique. So again, we're going to focus on trying to execute every repetition perfectly. So we'll just come into our nice push-up position. Coming down with control, keeping your body in a nice straight line. Coming right down till your upper arm is parallel to the floor. Now if you have some shoulder issues that maybe you are not supposed to go down as far, or you just know that push-ups give you shoulder pain, then we need to find a different exercise for you. If you don't quite have the strength, either in your upper body or in your torso, so sometimes people get down here and then, their torso, they can't maintain that position, just simply put your knees down and then keep your good straight line body position, your good tempo, and go from there until you work your way up. And then you could even do, say you're trying to do a set of 12, you could do 6 from your knee, 6 full push-ups, and then finish the second 6 from your knees. It's no problem. It's like if I, handed you a 275-pound barbell and said, here, bench press this. And you're like, well, I can't. We would just lighten the weight. So it's the exact same thing with your push-ups. When you start off on the dumbbell row, I'm going to have you put your hand just lightly on something, a chair, a bench. I actually like a stability ball because it's not that stable. They should call it an instability ball, shouldn't they? But anyway, but once you get the hang of it and the proper back position, then you don't have to put your hand on anything. But basically, I want you to get this position, so a good neutral back position. And I'm amazed at how many people struggle with this, and they end up kind of something like that. But stick your bum out the back, your chest out the front, and then you're going to row just till your elbow is at your side. Your elbow will be just a little away from your torso, so not tucked right in tight. And your wrist should stay kind of below your elbow, so it won't be pulling way up to here. As I do this, I'm thinking about squeezing my right shoulder blade back. Little pause at the top. And I don't want to shrug up in here. Then, once you kind of get that position, you're comfortable with the exercise, you'll do it without putting your hand on the stability ball or the bench. And what that's going to do is make your posterior chain, your hamstrings, your glutes, your back extensors work a little harder to maintain that torso stability as you're doing exercise with your upper body. So it's a way we can work basically some core in as we're working your upper and your mid back. The dumbbell split squat's a great exercise, not only for strengthening your quadriceps and your glutes, but also for teaching you how to hinge at your hips, how to use your knees properly. So you're going to take sort of a hip width stance. You'll step forward and back with one foot. And then you're going to keep your shoulders back, your chest up, bend your front knee and your back knee at the same time to lower your hips straight down. So let me show you from the side. Here I'm in my nice split stance position, and then I drop straight down. A lot of you will want to glide forward as you do this. So see this knee gliding forward. I want you to bend that back knee a little more and go straight down to the floor. So at the bottom, I'm going to switch legs just to show you. At the bottom, my torso is basically in line with this knee that's bending down to the floor. The glute bridge is another foundation exercise. So you're going to lie on your back, feet flat on the floor, knees bent. You're going to brace with your abdominals just a little bit, like if you were going to get a little smack in the stomach and you were protecting yourself. Then the big thing with the glute bridge, and what I'm trying to teach you, again, two things. One is to hinge at your hips. So your back, your torso, your core stays neutral and all lifts up together by virtue of hinging at the hips. What I don't want is for you to kind of roll your vertebra off the ground segment by segment. This is a hip extension exercise, not a lumbar flexion exercise. So we're going to lift up just to make a straight line. If you're really tight in your hip flexors, which again a lot of you are, you might only get to here. What you'll see if you try to push against tight hip flexors is that mobility is going to come from your back. You're going to end up extending through your lumbar spine. So as high as you can without extending through your lumbar spine. And then you're going to hold for the required amount of time. And while you're holding, think about squeezing your glutes, your bum cheeks, but try to relax your hamstrings. I push my toes into the end of my shoes a little bit to turn on my quads and try to relax my hamstrings while squeezing my glutes. So a really simple looking exercise. There's a lot going on there, and we want to get all the benefit that we can out of that glute bridge. When you do the dumbbell squat lateral, you can either hold the dumbbells here, or if you're getting a little bit pooped, you can hold them down here, and then one goes on the outside and one goes in the, to the inside. So really it is a leg strengthening exercise. So if your shoulders are getting tired and that's what's limiting your ability to continue, then drop the weights down here. My preference though is that you keep them up at shoulder height. So you're going to sit back in your hips, keep your chest up, so that when you get to the side, your shoulders, your hip, your knee, and your ankle are all stacked one on top of the other. If your stance is too wide, you won't be able to get out there. If it's too narrow, your bum's going to be way outside. Let me show you from the side. So chest up, sitting back in your hips. And when you're in that bottom position, you should be feeling a little stretch in this groin. Just like we need to work on hip stability and core stability, we also have to work on shoulder stability. So this is a really nice exercise for working the muscles that stabilize the scapula, the shoulder blade, and those muscles really are the core muscles of the shoulder. The only attachment that your shoulder and your arm have to the rest of your body is right here where your collarbone attaches to your sternum. So it's not a lot of bony structure holding you together there, so we really have to rely on the muscles. So this is a prone T. You're going to lie on the floor, and you can rest your head on a pillow or a towel roll to keep you in neutral. And what you're going to do with your thumbs pointing toward the ceiling, you're just going to lift your hands that much off the ground. So it's just like 3 inches off the ground. You're not trying to get way up here. And while you do that lift, you're just trying to give a little squeeze, like a medium squeeze between your shoulder blades. You don't want any action up here in your upper traps. So just a little squeeze between those shoulder blades and down and relax. Lift up, a little squeeze between the shoulder blades, down and relax. Also be aware as you do that exercise that you're not pushing your head into the floor as you lift up your arms. Keep your neck nice and relaxed. We just want to use the muscles between your shoulder blades and in the back of your shoulder for the prone T.